All right, so I wanted to talk about creating a matte painting and turning it into 3D. And while this won't be like a matte painting from scratch, I did want to kind of walk you through the process of taking something like this, doing some matte painting work on top of it, and also then some 3D work to take this flat image or this digital matte painting image and turn it into something that feels a little more 3D. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock this, and let's come over to image, and let's drop it down a couple of adjustment layers, and we can do that here, but we can also drop down some adjustment layers from like right here. And so first off, I'm going to go ahead and drop down a curves, and I'm going to contrast this just a little bit more. And I'm also going to drop down a color balance. And so I'm going to shift some of the colors around here. So I'm going to come in, and I'm in mid-tones right now, but I'm going to come in and try to make this feel a little more like it could be a nighttime shot. So let's go to our shadows, and let's put a lot of blues and some of that type of stuff into our shadows. And we'll also come to our highlights, and let's kind of play around with this a little bit. Yeah, I'm liking that too. Like if there was like a moon or something like that, you could start to really feel some of that. I'm going to turn off and on this this curves. I think the curves is a little too intense. And this is the one nice thing about doing this with adjustment layers is this is non-destructive, so I can come back in here and adjust this a little bit. Do something like that. Okay. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do too, it still is feeling a little warm. So I'm going to come and I'm going to do, let's drop down a hue and saturation as well. I'm going to take some of the saturation out just a little bit. Maybe something like right like there. And if you notice this saturation is between, like if I put it on top, it's going to be a little bit different, but if I put it right underneath that color balance, that's going to feel a lot cooler. And so here you can see, like if I turn these off, that's what the image looked like, and now if I turn those back on, that's what the image feels like now. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all this. So I just click the first one, and then I should click the last one. I'm going to do Control and G and just drop that into a group. And we'll call this base. Let's call that base underscore BG for background. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I really want to get rid of this sky, and so let's do this. I'm going to come over here to this base BG, and I'm going to hold Alt down, and I'm going to drag this, and so now I have this copy. And then I'm going to come here to this one, and I'm going to do Control E to just flatten that into one image, and then I'll come down here and name it. So I'm actually saving the work, so I still have all that in here if I want to make any changes, but I'm just flattening that into an image for now. Okay, so from here, let's come over to, let's see how our magic wand does. So I'm just clicking and holding, and I'm going to come over to the magic wand, and I'm going to just click here in the sky, and that seems like it's given us a decent selection. And I'm going to click that. Let me do that one more time. I think I did that a little quick. So with this selection that I got with the magic wand, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to come and I'm going to click this little button right here, and that's going to make a layer mask. And as you guys remember, if I alt click on this layer mask, you'll see, if you guys recall, we can see what's white and we can't see what's black. And so I'll come and click back on this layer, and again, you can alt click to look at the layer mask, and you can actually paint, hand paint black and white in here too. You can do some of that by hand with painting. But the problem is if you, and I'm going to change that back to my move tool for a second. If you look at this, this is like backwards, right? I want to invert this. So I want the sky to be black and then all this down here to be white. And so what I'm going to do is with this layer mask selected, I'm going to do Control and I. And that's just going to invert that. Now if I come back here, we can see now we have something like this.